discuss what the best financial state is to where gambling is the most fun. We're going to discuss if you need projections to be a successful sports bettor. And we're going to discuss the biggest story off the top, which is if there was a rigged fight in the UFC this week. All that and more today on Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel, which is part of the Hammer Betting Network. And we're here with your typical Monday crew. I'm your host here on Circle Back. My name is Jacob Gramegna. I am a creator and producer at the Hammer Betting Network. Over in the right chair, we have CEO of the Hammer and professional sports bettor, Rob Pizzola. In the middle chair, we have basketball originator, Kirk Evans. And then in the left chair, we have sophisticated square golf betting expert, maybe? Geoff Fienberg.
Enthusiast. Yeah.
Well, that's the show today. How was everyone's weekend? Jeff, you were at the TGL this week. How was that?
I had a lot of fun. Was out in Palm Beach. Put a couple extra days in. Good times.
Okay, so I saw you tweeting through it, and like Tiger was really close to you at one point, and you got like super excited. But how was the event as a whole? Because I assume it was just like an influencer event. They had people out, use the sim, speak about it a little bit more. Yeah, there's
the flu. So we had a day there. They just wanted to get to know a lot about like TGL and betting.
Got it.
And so they had like a lot of content or creators out there. And so they invited us to the match. And then the next day we got to play there for a little. It was just a first class operation. I've been there before. Oh, you even got the Chick-fil-A lunch. You really rated my photos. It was good.
Was Kirk's favorite Brad Dalkey there?
No.
Oh, I was wondering.
No, there wasn't like that level.
Like they didn't go YouTube golf.
No, they didn't go YouTube golf, although all like the foreplay guys were there.
Got it.
And they just like had put out a video with like Kisner being a full-time member.
Yeah.
That Tiger was in. I saw them like doing that.
Yeah.
Not that matters.
Well, whatever.
And not that I even give a shit about foreplay. Frankie was the only one that I'd be like, what's up?
Did you say
I
what's
haven't
up?
told Frankie that you are like the only one of like the group that I cared to say like what's up to.
I like Trent.
It's cool.
I like Trent.
I feel like
as well.
Riggs is just the one who's clearly the.
Yeah,
runt
I don't
of
want to
water.
put him. I'm with you. Riggs is just
But yeah, no, first class operation, TGL, good times. It's not a great like week for me and like the actual like golf.
Well,
But I should have been grinding some sims.
You
and
hit
stuff.
a winner last week. It's not going to be like that every week.
Oh, I
You're
meant
saying
like
actual golfing.
like striking the ball. We're warming up.
It's in the image here, but there's a video there of you hitting. There was
And
like
then
a
even
140-yard shot or something.
I said we even went to not good. Like closest to the pin contest, I got like 44 feet.
Which I saw our mutual friend Pat Mayo. He like hit it within 2 feet.
Yeah, and
Like-
he's my mistake. Not that when I went onto the golf course, nothing changed. But like my first swings were like the contest. Well, some others got a little run, but Mayo actually owes me because I noticed he didn't hit it great as he was like pre, and then I'm like, I think you're using a ladies club.
Oh,
And then
you're
he
the
like
reason.
switched his club, and then he like stuck it to one guy hit it to our friend Matt hit it to 2 feet 9 inches. He's like in the king's chair. Next guy out now, 2 feet.
wow.
And this was the hole that Siwoo hit the hole in one. Not Siwoo. Tom Kim hit a hole on the night before. It's honestly like it's just a TV studio.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like what an American Gladiators studio probably like would have looked like.
Got it. From the outside, is it just like a warehouse or?
It's kind of like oh yeah, sure. Yeah. That's actually very well put.
I am quite interested in I just love golf. I like anything related to golf. I would have shat my pants if I was there. If like people were watching me and I had one chance to hit basically like a wedge in 9-iron, would you like? Nah, it's not going to end well for me.
Listen, took it out onto the course as I told you, Rob. If the books are still reviewing Fienberg water balls versus dead Iranian generals. Like that's still under review by the books because it was close.
They keep finding new ones.
They keep finding new ones.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, daylight savings is killing me. I don't know about you guys, we got to do away with daylight savings, man. always falls on like the first F1 race of the year as well, which is Australia, and I'm always stuck up late at night. I'm dying right now. NFL free agency happening in real time at the exact moment as well, and I can't not look at my phone every 2 minutes, but it was a good week. World Baseball Classic's been interesting. I don't know if you've been following it all.
Yeah, I watched a couple games. Seems fun.
It's kind of like, it's happening at the right time. It's kind of like getting me excited for baseball. It's not like I must watch TV for every game, but at least
I wouldn't
they've
watch
spaced out the games.
You wouldn't
well
watch
enough.
spring training, but you actually might watch that for like
sure.
if that you get stuck in front of that.
Well, it's done in a smart way where obviously the locations of the games are different, but it's spaced out nicely. So whenever you turn on the TV, there's a decent likelihood you're going to have a game on. And I've been live betting these a little bit. I actually tried to find an angle that probably wasn't really a good angle.
Well, I noticed they really like wait as late as they can. It seems like post lines because there's so much like up in the air with like who's playing, who's actually going to start. So I feel like you're like looking for a line. The game's in 6 hours, and sometimes the books aren't even putting up lines until like 3 hours before games.
Well, I honestly don't even know. The only pregame market I looked at was who did the U.S. beat where they scored like 7 in the ninth. They won 15-5. It was their first game. I don't know. Brazil maybe, something like that. I'm trying to remember what it was. Brazil. Jason was scouring the house rules at every book because there's a mercy rule. Here he's coming over here. He's gonna here. Jason, we've mentioned your name. You're allowed to walk in here if you want to. But there's mercy rules. Yeah, but
he's saying don't disclose it.
You don't want me to disclose it?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good. This is what I was going to bring it up. I bet it.
You bet it without telling me.
No, it's not at the book you mentioned. Okay. So you mentioned like a little rinky-dink Ontario book, which I no longer have accounts. So for people that don't know, it's a correlated parlay essentially.
Yes.
Right? Of spread and total in the game.
Yes.
Typically, for other sports or whatever, those mistakes aren't made. The problem is that there's 2 mercy rules.
Yes.
So you can. We're not gonna have
If you
opportunities
don't
to
think
bet this the rest of the tournament.
it's pretty much. I don't think there's another opportunity because Japan's done. Japan was the most likely to. Japan, Dominican Republic, and USA were probably the most likely to go about it. And I think USA plays Mexico, and I don't think they'll do it against Mexico. So
anyway, I mathed it out. But USA minus 9.5 could be parlayed with the under in the game and alternate unders.
Which was 15.5 or 14.5, depending on the book.
Right. So you could.
I see. That makes a lot of sense.
Because there's a mercy rule.
Yeah.
But the problem is that to get to the 7th inning, you'd have to get past the 5th inning mercy rule, which is 15 runs or more as well. So it brings some of the equity down overall. And also, depending on the book, I realized where I placed the bet.
I know where you placed the bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got an insanely better price, but it voids.
Yes, but
if it doesn't go 9.
Yes.
I made the mistake of uploading the house rules to every AI, which I will no longer. Like I was looking for it myself, and Control F, it's a disaster. So I was explaining the bet to AI, and it said there's nothing that indicates that this would be void or whatever. And then about, I want to say half an hour later, I saw a screenshot of the void. So what are you gonna do? But maybe at the book you played it out.
It's a good angle.
It was a good angle. It ended up being plus 525 on it, which was I got one for an under 15.5 and USA minus 9.5. And were they playing great? Who did they play yesterday? Was it Brazil yesterday?
No, it was Brazil the first game. Great
Britain. Yeah, they ended up winning 9-1.
Yeah,
which I needed them to just get one more run, and it ended up going 9 innings. But
I gotta tell you,
happens.
True USA legacy moment though, covering that 9.5 spread.
Oh yeah,
in the 9th. That's when you know baseball is back. Up 3 going into the 9th, cover the 9.5 spread.
You know how I have to this morning to get in on a couple golfers on DraftKings. I have to make parlays. $0 to bet them alone. Parlay anything I want. So today I've just got stacks of my golfers with the Dominican Republic on the money line to beat Israel.
They're up 6-0 right now.
Good.
I think every.
Sorry, I just think about the one time where you had a random soccer under 5.5. It was like minus 20,000 or minus 4,000.
It got to 5.
I got to 5.
So-
Yeah, that was.
Sorry. You were sweating it on the show. Anyways, I'll get out of
I
here.
am sweating Dominican Republic for the tournament, though.
Yeah.
They're such a fun team.
As I
good.
think every single sharp bettor in North America feels like everyone's on Dominican. But anyways, it was good weekend for sports.
Yep.
F1 back. Can't say I like the cars, but World Baseball Classic and the NFL free agencies is a beauty.
It's all right. On NFL free agency, last thing before we get into the show, wanted to talk about Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP with the Seahawks, signing with the Chiefs this morning. How do we feel?
Paying running backs, I don't think is necessarily the best course of action.
Like one of your favorite team's rivals hypothetically signs an above average running back in free agency. Like, do you giggle a little? Maybe.
Yeah.
After he won Super Bowl MVP, especially so.
Right
Like,
now,
I had fear-mongered much better situations, like potentially for the Chiefs. So
I
I'm
really thought that the fact that he won Super Bowl MVP would make the Seahawks want to pay him. I thought like that would make them
So it's just a
con them into a
sign of a
mistake.
sharp organization.
exactly.
to
They're a
let that
savvy
walk.
Yeah,
organization.
no, really good sign.
And
they did that.
they've hit on so many draft picks. There's so many guys that are far less replacement player level, like can't be replaced with like an average replacement player.
Not to say Kenneth Walker's an amazing running back. He's really, really good running back. But some teams just, they know which positions they should pay and which they shouldn't, and other teams don't. But I'm just happy that the Fighting Eagles, as we like to call them, the Carolina Panthers, got Jalen Phillips, big-time edge rusher. I cheer for the Cowboys, the Panthers, and then the rest of free agency is me rooting for other teams to hand out bad contracts.
Well,
That's how I live.
You had a feeling they'd be a little like eager, no pun intended, because they got sniped at the wire for Milton Williams last year.
They did, and he turned out to be a beauty,
Yeah,
a true beauty.
I
I'm
like
looking forward to
I
it.
like Phillips for them a lot.
We got some forward progress coverage of day one of free agency later on today. I think videos dropping 5:00 Eastern on forward progress with G Stack George and Cleve TA.
Dolphins
Day after
Radio.
Day one. He's going to have a lot to talk about. Malik Willis didn't get as big a contract as I thought he would. Yeah.
Well, let's get into the topics for today. Before we do, we'll play the disclaimer and we'll jump into the first tweets of the day. Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. And the leadoff story, which I teased off the top, is the UFC fight between Michael Johnson and Drew Dober, which had some very sketchy, interesting line movement here. So on Sunday, Michael Johnson was minus 155. Yesterday, he was minus 120, and this was posted before the event, so the days I'm saying are a little bit off. But anyways, currently, Michael Johnson is plus 150, and I think we looked at it before the show. It closed around minus 200. So lots of very severe line movement here. That was posted originally by Spinning Backfist. Ariel Helwani, humongous cover of MMA UFC, says the fight has been taken down at BetMGM and won't be reposted. The reason at this time, the extreme line movement in the last few hours. So definitely some speculation there. And then there was this really interesting tweet from at AAOnline94, Marlo Stanfield. Before the fight, said Michael Johnson has been paid to lose by round 2 TKO today. The gang called Gangster Disciples coming out of St. Louis, Missouri are holding his nephew hostage. And then he ended up losing in the second round by TKO. So really interesting how that lines up there. But how do we feel on this story? Very, very weird line movement, Rob. But what's like your conspiracy level on this one? Where's your conspiracy radar at?
So we've talked UFC, like this same story several times before, and I don't think this one will be the last. Each of them has like their own dynamic, sets of events and what happened surrounding them. And I think that there's been ones in the past which were very obviously fixed in some capacity, where coaches were revealing information about their fighters beforehand, pre-existing injuries, all that stuff. This one is really weird because this blew up. This is enormous. This Mario Stanfield tweet, you can understand why it blew up considering the actual result of the fight. But there's not much information out there other than Dana White saying it's which he's going to say regardless. I think there's no real reason he's going to come out and, give credence to Michael Johnson's nephew being held hostage by the gangster disciples, which in and of itself is a really weird one. But there's lots of line movement happening prior to the fight. It's not just BetMGM. I saw Dave Mason at BetOnline posted they took 5 max bets in a row at $20K at certain prices. Some books had to take it down. It's just so weird to the point where I'm not a sophisticated UFC bettor. I don't bet the UFC anymore. I haven't in a long time. But I really start to wonder if someone got by that tweet. The line moved a lot, right? But I watched the fight after the fact. If Michael Johnson threw that fight, he made it look extremely real. Because previously we've seen instances where other fighters would come out and be like, this is not any takedown. No one would do. I thought Michael Johnson was fighting.
So, someone in the chat, Adam Orsini, says he was whooping his ass in round 1.
Yeah, 100%. If you are in on some sort of fix, you don't take the risk of knocking the other person out. Well, you know what I'm getting at? So I don't know. Something is just really, really weird about this entire event.
Get a better live number when you don't win round 1. I don't know what it's saying.
Maybe. It's just this one to me stands out as very different from the ones we've seen in the past before, where also today the steam died down a little bit as well. In the previous instances when we had reports of integrity issues with it seemed to the news cycle seemed to last a lot longer than this one has, just at least from my perspective. I don't know, super weird.
It did seem like a lot of people, I don't know anything about it, but the reaction was it's impossible for a guy who dominated the first round and looked good in the start of a round to get knocked out in a fight.
No, but that happens all the time. That's ridiculous.
That's what it just seemed like. It's how is this? How'd that happen? The guy I didn't see the fight. I saw it after. I saw all the. You would have thought the guy laid down.
Yeah.
The way Twitter made it seem in my feed.
I'm with you. It didn't. After this, I had not seen it. Jason sent me the clip. He's like, here, you can watch the fight here. And I watched it. I'm like, I don't know, man. If I didn't know any, you probably, unless somebody were to outright say, here's the information showing that here's text messages that were sent or whatever, I could never believe that this of all fights was a fixed one. But what kind of alternate reality are we living in?
It's crazy.
Where a guy makes up some rumor about a nephew being held hostage. He's been paid to lose by round 2 TKO, and then he loses by round 2 TKO.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable story and should be investigated. I hope it will be investigated. And I would say we can have a lot of arguments about the legalization. Has that made rigging way more prevalent? But the good thing is there are currently a lot of legitimate federal indictments of people who have done these schemes. So I hope it gets looked into. But yeah, it is a very weird one.
And to your point about the regulation, this time around you had books pulling the line, which is, again, it's a double-edged sword, right? I do believe that with the regulation of sports betting and markets being as big as they are now, it has increased the likelihood that someone would try, especially, we've talked about the UFC before, right? Michael, this is a main card fight. I actually don't know what Michael Johnson made for this, but there's a lot of UFC fighters that are making $5,000 for a fight and then maybe a $5,000 win bonus on top of that. there would be a lot of incentive for them to potentially throw a fight. But where we're at now, at least the weird betting behavior is being caught beforehand and pulled. Someone thought they knew
For sure.
had information.
Yeah, I think that's pretty undeniable. And like, was the information right? Is to me to be seen.
I would also say that in other markets where the outcome, let's call it an information-based market, right? This shouldn't be an information-based market. It's a UFC fight. But in other markets that are information-based, think of like, I don't know, Oscars is a bad example because technically that envelope is sealed. But something where somebody might know the outcome, NFL draft, right? Draft night, 15 minutes before the pick, second pick, overall, third, they're all going to steam into oblivion because it's pretty widely known at that point who some teams are picking at the top of the board. Those move like crazy. Now, granted, the liquidity is lower, right? But you will see like a minus 120 move to a minus 2,000 in an instant. This we saw plus 150 move to a minus 200 over the course of a day and a half. Big time line movement, but like UFC limits are not NBA limits or NFL limits, right? It almost feels like if someone was privy and they were certain that this outcome was going to happen, that this would have been pushed out way further. That's just my perspective on it.
I would need to like kind of see what's happened on other fights of like have fights gone from plus 100 to like minus 1,000. But yeah, it definitely, if you know someone's going to lose, it could, it's good to any price.
It won't. This will not be the last time that this happens.
Especially
year.
in the UFC.
No, it's just. But this one was different. For me, felt different.
Especially with that tweet. Like that was how I just was scrolling Twitter and saw that.
Where would this go on your conspiracy meter? So number 5 being this is absolutely rigged. Number 1 being not rigged. No issues.
I would say a 2.
2?
Ooh, I think 3.5 to 4.
Oh, really?
So you guys are higher. You're above.
I'm like 50-50, yeah.
So you're
strange.
You're on the more.
Well, someone thought it was rigged, right? So like, that's already gets me pretty high.
So here's another thing that I was thinking. I'm glad you brought that up. I've been betting markets long enough, as you have, and even Geoff has, not maybe to a different extent. But when in certain markets, when I see something steaming, I will bet a lot on it, even if I got a worse price. There's been some examples before. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Not to this extent. Events that happen at All-Star games that were pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then all stuff starts steaming. I'm like, somebody knows. And I will just get in on that.
Like information markets.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I saw this line movement because someone else sent it to me long before it had even reached minus 150. Might have been in our Discord, maybe in our Discord, but it was like plus 100. Move from, and I couldn't like, I couldn't myself pull the trigger on like betting it, but I'm sure a lot of people are seeing these moves in specific sports that they know are questionable, and they're like, "Fuck, this has got to be good." Like, is that not a distinct possibility?
Yeah, I would think so. Like, I don't know if it would be enough for it to like significantly move the line more. But yeah, like I've definitely seen really weird moves. I'm sure I've brought it up here before. The one that I always remember most is, I think it was Bucks Knicks, but I'm not certain who they were playing. But the line steamed like 5 points 2.5 hours before the game, and I was like, what? Like, it obviously made no sense. Like an NBA spread doesn't move 5.5 points without an injury. And like everyone just speculated that Giannis was out, and clearly someone thought Giannis was out, and then he just played, and then it just steamed back 5 points. So like the information you hear, like it's wrong more than it's right.
Yeah. So let's say as an NHL bettor, right? Let's say I bet a game. I bet an NHL game, and then all of a sudden the line gets pounded in the opposite direction. I personally would usually play back once maybe sometimes a little bit more. But if it still keeps going and drifting, then I'm going to be like, okay, maybe there's some info out there. If I'm not a UFC originator or bettor, but let's say I'm a UFC originator and the line gets pounded in one direction, like huge move.
No way I'm touching it the other way.
Not only am I not touching it the other way, but I'm now having a serious conversation with myself of like, there is a decent chance that somebody knows something, and maybe I want to actually piggyback this and forget about my number. That's all I'm getting at with regards to how the line could move the way it does in the UFC. I don't think that would happen in the NBA or NHL or NFL or anything like that. But because of the nature of it being 1v1 combat sport, you see something go out in one direction and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, maybe somebody knows something, and then money. And again,
someone knowing something doesn't have to be rigged. If someone comes in with a bad leg injury, like that stuff can leak so easily. That also is just so important. True.
But I don't, it's not my mark. I wish I knew the UFC market better than I do, but this one definitely had a very different vibe.
All right, get into our second topic in just a moment here. If you're enjoying the show so far, though, as a reminder, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We have tons of content coming out. We just filmed a bunch of exciting stuff last week that's going to be getting released periodically, and we don't want you to miss out on anything. So if you're watching our content, enjoying our content, getting value out of it, please make sure you're subscribed. Help us on the road to 22,000 subs. Let's make 2026 a great year for the Circles Off brand. On to the next topic. We have, originally came from Event Waves IO, who said Kalshi users realizing they're limiting each other. And we have Kanji, who's well known on gambling Twitter, says, okay, well, I just limited some winners on RFQ, so I guess that's fake news. And then Yanni Satino said same, and it looks like he limited Kanji as one of the people he was talking about. So he said, wait, that's me. So John Aguiar says, so instead of sportsbooks limiting winners, the prediction markets hire market makers to take the action, and then they identify the winners and deny them action. Innovation. And then, as pointed out by a couple of people here, Golden Pants, also well known on gambling Twitter, says, hilarious coming from the guy who changed pick six from a player v player game to a player versus house game. Innovation. And then Thon Misser posted a screenshot of, I think it's his LinkedIn account, Jonathan Aguiar. He says, I think true innovation is focusing your career on making sure the most degenerate and unskilled bettors are exploited for as much as possible. And it's the work history of Aguiar, who has loads of experience working for DraftKings over the last 12 and a half years in doing what Thon Misser described. Let's go with Kirk first of all here. Do you see any issue with what's going on here with like essentially players getting limited by other players on prediction markets? Give us your take on this.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not in the like RFQ land, which just if you're listening and don't know, RFQ is like parlays and SGPs on exchanges. But like if you listen to Golden Pants podcast, he had Kalshi like market maker on a few weeks ago, and listening to them talk about limiting, it could have been out of Jason Robbins' mouth.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of sharp people are kind of realizing like, running a sports book is hard. It's hard to win. And yeah, I do think that, I don't know the exact mechanisms. My understanding is that pretty much they can see the player ID.
Yes.
And if the person is like a winner, they can limit them. I saw people claiming...
I think they can flat out avoid, I think.
Yeah, like
I'm not 100... But you can basically avoid like a player that you think can beat you, essentially.
Yeah, I do not really think that should be a thing. I did see people posting that like other CFTC regulated markets do that, which would be confusing to me, and I don't really understand the mechanism of what that would be. So I'm definitely far from an expert here. But yes, I do have a problem with this. Like I think exchanges being able to limit players is kind of the polar opposite of what exchanges are setting out to do. But obviously it is just on like RFQs, this type of wagering, and I know that there's a lot of people right now who are really trying to exploit it. But yeah, I definitely have a problem with it, but coming from this guy is obviously a bit ironic.
Yeah, I'll say like this is also well beyond my... So like guys like Golden Pants, I don't even know who else, but They operate in the prediction market space very differently than I do. The way I do is I supply numbers to someone else who uses them to market make, essentially, right? So, my betting partner would know a lot more about the ins and outs of who our counterparties are. To my knowledge, we're taking action from everyone. I would say that I was not aware of this prior to this.
I don't think you're able to do it unless it's an RFQ. So like if you're like putting NHL lines on the market, you can't say I'm not taking from that customer.
So it's basically just to prevent like getting nuked on parlays and stuff like that, which makes some logical sense. I would guess, this is just a guess, I could be completely off base, it's happening at an extremely minimal level.
I would agree. Right now, though.
Right now. But that doesn't mean it can't happen going forwards. I think the second part of the conversation is the John Aguilar stuff, which, sometimes a good point can be made, but it comes from I don't want to say a person that lacks credibility, but a person where there's like, the message just doesn't hit home. And I think that's the response that he got from Golden Pants and Thon here, which is like, you can't be the person. You can't be the person talking about this. I mean, basically, we're part of creating the ecosystem of limiting players widely across the board in the regulated market. I think that's where it is. It's like a tout, giving a losing tout giving like sports betting advice, and the advice could actually be good, but it's like you're not the one who's qualified to give it. And I think that it loses a lot of steam when that's the case.
Everything was well said. I mean, I just enjoyed it. And anytime there's going to be like a pile on John, I'm going to just like giggle, snicker into my coffee.
Yeah, see, I don't know him at all. I don't think I've ever interacted with him like in person or anything like that. But yeah, it's the wrong person sending the message. Like I can clearly get behind, hey, this should be a fair and equal market for everyone, and we got to do away with any sort of step in the direction of turning a prediction market into a traditional sports book. I get that, but I don't know. You gotta be careful with when you've lived a certain history, the message just doesn't hit when it comes from
for
that.
sure.
Well said. Great way to finish it off. That brings us into the next one, which comes from @Fitzmagic. I don't know exactly, so I tried to dig it a little bit. They have a WAP badge in their Twitter profile, and there's a link to a WAP page for I forget the account now, but I'll look at it after I read the tweet here. It says, I've gotten asked a lot recently about what websites I use for projections. None. I am of the belief that using projections to try to one-up the multi-billion-dollar markets is stupid. Using a projections website as one of your methods is fine. I equate it to people looking at cheat sheets for data. A lot of it just comes down to reassurance for your plays to make yourself feel better, which is okay. However, far too many cappers use these as a crutch instead of thinking critically or using them as just part of their process and suffer as a result. Watch the sport, read about the sport, and pay attention to lines when you can and think critically about injury news, usage, and game environment. If you're doing these things, the data from the NBA website and StatMuse is often all you need alongside it. I'll start with Rob on this one. Do you agree with this, or do you think projections needs to take a much larger part for a successful bettor?
So I largely agree with it. Just like everything in the sports betting space, I don't think everything is black and white. I think that there's some nuance that is required. I think this is generally good advice for most people. I'll tell you one of the biggest pet peeves of mine, which is people reach out to me via DMs and they're like, hey, Rob, what do you think of the Money Puck projections? So Money Puck is a hockey site, hockey data site, essentially. But if you log on to the site, you're going to have a percentage next to each team to win the game. And they're like, oh, I've been betting them for the last couple weeks and they're doing okay. And my response is going to be like, man, these are publicly available to a really large crowd. Like a lot of people use these. You're not going to win. I don't know what to tell you. Like you're simply not going to win. With that said, there are projection systems or sets of projections that drop. And you can see that, within a short amount of time after they drop, the entire market reacts to them. One example would be for NFL, Establish the Run releases their projections at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday for all the Sunday games. And in that 3 to 3:30 window, the board is just, props board is lighting up. Like tons of people are betting them. They move. They don't really get hit back. They're staying. So like that would be, I'm not encouraging everyone to go and buy that. Like there's a lot of work you're going to have to put in as well. But that's an example of one that used to work, right? For me, I've learned this. I've had success doing this, and I've also learned the hard way that sometimes it's not good. But, you know, the BatX is another projection system, I think, for MLB, which I'm not super familiar with, but I believe nowadays, I think Derek Carty developed it. And, like, when the numbers go out, the market moves based off of those. So it's generally a good point. I would rather someone try to come up with their own projections and build a system to do that rather than relying on another one. But that's not to say that there's not good projection systems.
Yeah, like kind of like you were talking about our last segment. I wish I knew a little more about Fitzmagic. Like he has Whoop in his header.
So
like,
the WAP account is Beat the Book stats. He's got linked there.
yeah,
Beat
so
the
like
books.
I can't really tell like if he's a serious human or not.
Yeah.
But the point is like it's kind of like you said. Like I personally completely disagree in terms of how I do things, but like generally, yeah, I do agree. I was laughing at your money puck thing because yeah, I get messages all the time of like Ken Palm says it's -5, but like the line is -1. Like obviously that's good. It's like the market has Ken Palm.
Yeah.
Everyone who's betting this market knows what the line is on Ken Palm because that is a publicly available piece of data.
And largely used.
But Ken Palm does not have the market. So like all the internal systems or all the internal models that people are betting into, Ken Palm does not factor that in. So the model will always be better than Ken Palm because Ken Palm, it's like polling versus prediction markets for elections. Who's going to win the election, people are betting based on the polls, but also based on other things.
Yes.
But the polling doesn't have anything to do with the prediction market. So the prediction market will always have an advantage there. But that being said, I do really like purchasing and buying and using other people's projections. The easiest example is like NBA minutes. For me to go through every single day
Great point.
and project every single player's minutes would take up so much time and be completely not worth my time. There are good fantasy websites, not even betting websites, just fantasy websites who project every player's minutes. Then I can go on top of their minutes projection and say, okay, I disagree here, I agree here, and pick out a few outliers. Yes, if you're looking at a projection system, unless maybe it's ETR, but even ETR, like once that hits the market, everyone has it, and just betting based on that, you're gonna very, very likely lose, and it's a really bad way to bet. But if you can use someone's projections and build on top of it, okay, here is how X built this model, what is missing, how can I make it even better, then that's absolutely a way to win. And that's kind of why I said I want to know if this guy's serious, because I don't know if he's just like putting out kind of
well, it seems like he's affiliated with Beat the
Swap.
Books, which is a pick selling service.
Swap
They
is
have a
great.
Discord. They have a WAP account. I would suspect this is partially to try and drive
like
sales
I
to
think
the
he's
platform.
way more just saying that, like, you know, a lot of touts look at like what's that site, like whatever, the NBA prop site that's like
props.cash or whatever.
Props.cash.
Madness
Player
or-
has hit
Yeah.
his over points
Last
in 8
10
of
games.
last 10 games.
I know. What a
like that's you know, if we're talking a spectrum of winning in betting, that's like maybe a 2 out of 10. So like then it's just kind of like whatever, who cares? Yeah, you probably shouldn't use projections, but also you probably just shouldn't bet.
Yeah, it's. I remember, I want to say 10 years ago, I was using a site called SaberSim to bet MLB props. And I did like really well for a while. And then like a year later, everyone knew about SaberSim. And honestly, a lot of these things would overmove. they were going, and I was still betting them because I'm an idiot and I didn't know how the market works back then. And then all of a sudden I'm just losing a bunch of money. And that's the thing I think with projection systems is like, you know, you might be able to catch lightning in a bottle with something that works for a while, but eventually it becomes it goes out to the masses and it just loses its value at that point. And on top of that, like if it still does have value, one of the challenges, and this is like another problem, but you know, if you just blindly bet everything that Establish the Run releases, your accounts are cooked.
Yeah.
You have no hope of sustain. You'd be better off betting stuff that no one else is than everyone just piling in at one time on everything.
Well, that's what I was going to say about like, it also depends on what we mean by using projections. Like if we're saying Establish the Run, if you can find a play or like a prop that you completely disagree with Establish the Run, like is that using a projection system? You're kind of going against the projection system, but being aware that they make James Harden points 24.5, but you're at 21.5, the books are going to probably look at that play as square because it'll get a bet against you no matter what if you keep betting it, because people will blindly bet ETR, and you're going to be able to get a way bigger fill on that take because you know you're going against the market. So like it kind of all depends. It's a really, kind of like you said on the last one, it's a really good conversation, maybe from the wrong guy.
Maybe I don't know. It's tough with this stuff. I've talked with the Sauce, Kyle Kerms, about this before, right? Like I like to point out the edge cases with certain things because I believe that there's value in doing that. I don't think everything is just apples and oranges, black and white. But sometimes just delivering a message like that, it's going to help.
Yeah.
Whether it's coming from someone with WAP in the profile or not, it's a helpful message, I think, for 98, 99% of people. So nitpicking it maybe is going a little bit too far. But that said, to your point, I've done time on ice in the NHL before, not by developing it myself, by using an aggregation of different projections that were out there, which were, I'll call it, good enough. When I was working with Prediction Machine many years ago, NFL snap counts, a lot of that came from other sites as well. And just like crowdsourcing and aggregating, and then like learning which sites were the best at projecting snaps and this and that. So I think that there's some value in them every now and then. But if you don't know what you're doing and you can't think of like, how am I going to utilize this other than, you know, just flat betting everything? I mean, most of the projection systems are just going to lose against the market-wide props.
Yes.
Right?
All right, we'll get into our next topic in just a second here. Before we do, let's hear a message from our friends at Prediction Data.
If you're a bettor building your own models and you're not watching Kalshi and the rest of the market in one unified feed, you're probably missing edges. Prediction Data aggregates and normalizes data from Kalshi, major prediction markets, and sportsbooks into a single API built for backtesting and live trading. You get live prices and historical data in one clean schema with no data engineering headache. If you want a trial key, you'll need to book a quick demo. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get your trial key.
On to a couple of tweets from Kelly in Vegas, who does a lot of sports betting content. She posted a bunch of lines from @ArtDice21, and this was in a succession of tweets here. And she mentioned that these were from the @Superbook Las Vegas counter. All these lines are getting posted to them that are verified as sharp action. She says, follow, fade, or fuck off. Mike Manning decided to reply to both times she posted something like this. @Boston_Mike2 says, you realize these are all Dr. Bob sports plays he releases at 10 a.m. You're giving them out at stale numbers hours later. Be better. And then when she did it a second time, he said, good work here. High Point started an hour ago, which is one of the games that was listed. All Dr. Bob plays again, most or all numbers long gone at this point. So I don't really, like, what was the strategy you think behind what she's posting here, Rob? Like, what's your take on this?
Okay, this one is weird because I understand why there's a market. People like picks, plain and simple, okay? This is going to go back to Ben Fox. We've covered Ben Fox on the show. But I like Ben, all right?
I don't.
I know you don't. I don't like his content. I've let him know that. So Bet Bash a couple
He likes
years
this
ago-
show. He might be watching.
Yeah, well, if you are, thank you, Ben. Please like and subscribe. No, but
Maybe not after that.
I've said this to his face before. I'm like, the public bet slip stuff, like you gotta stop putting that out there. Like and he's like, why? I'm like, because it's useless. But he's like, but people want it. Like, I'm gonna get the most interaction on this. I'm going to get people want to know what other people are betting. Fine. In the sports betting industry, people want to know what other sharps are on. All right. Now, I've had to like sleuth this one quite a bit. So Kelly is a co-owner of Wager Talk. Art Dice, the actual real name eludes me. Whatever, I'm not going to pull it up on my phone. But he seems to have some affiliation with Wager Talk, but he also works for Superbook Nevada. I've seen Kelly also promote Superbook Nevada before. So I really don't know whether like they're just sending it to her and being like, hey, can you just post this to your following? And she's just saying yes and copying and pasting or whatever. But at some point you got to say like, first of all, is Superbook only taking sharp bets from Dr. Bob? Is like that their only clientele? Because those are all, they literally match his plays one for one. I checked. Secondly, like at some point when you have, I feel like when you have a following of 250K on Twitter, you have like some responsibility to the user base to not like put out shit. Because the reality is, the vast majority of people who see something like this, they're not going to be price sensitive. Maybe that's the goal of it. I have no idea. But like, let's say you see Kent State minus 11 in a tweet, and then you go to bet it and it's minus 13, but you know some sharp person played it into his Superbook. Like if this was me 15 years ago, I might play that 2 points worse, and it's not good anymore. So it's kind this Mike Manning guy.
No, if the sharp action goes all the way, you might be able to just play it back.
Well, that's another strategy altogether that some have talked about before. I get how it could probably be tedious on her end to see like Mike Manning talk about it, but I think it's fair to call it out. I do.
How can she be objective and be angry at Mike?
Well, I saw a response to him.
Was she mad at Mike?
She said
She was not happy.
You can unfollow or fuck off or something
She
like
said
that.
you can unfollow
I
Mike.
think she's
Yeah.
so big, like she doesn't actually care that she is now like doing that.
So
It's like the grease is like font. Like she's at a point where it's like, I don't even know why she would react to Mike in that way, but just that it's like she's beyond criticism because she's got this Wager Talk thing, and it's all just like she doesn't take it seriously, even though she pretends to.
I know I kind of get what you're getting at.
I'm gonna get a little bit on my soapbox here, because this genuinely infuriates me. Just not in terms, I don't even really particularly like care about the that people might take it, whatever. But like, if you're gonna do something in life, don't do it that it's so fucking horribly bad and lazy and shit. Like, take some ounce of respect in what you do. If you're gonna do this tweet, just fucking have an arrow, Northern Illinois, plus 23.5, arrow, now plus 21.5.
Sure.
Then it actually gives someone a little piece of information that's actually something. This is trash. Like, it's just garbage shit. And like, there's no line, sharp action. It's just crap, and it's just for whatever engagement or associative content,
Yeah.
whatever. Just, if you're gonna do content, just a little bit of respect in yourself and who you're putting stuff out for. Like, this is genuinely shit, and that I hate.
So her defense to one of the replies was she's just passing along what she's receiving. She's just passing along the information. But I just think that's such like a lazy defense of like putting content
it's
like
fine.
this.
To me, it's fine. If she's gonna post this, because it's sharp action, that's fine. Just post the move so people can have some understanding of like what this is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just to say I'm just passing on information, like you can do a little bit of extra to make sure it's accurate and relevant information to the time that you're posting it.
Well, I agree. So I went through like the reply, the two that we've referenced here with the Kelly tweets. Like the replies are overwhelmingly positive. Thank you for posting this and that, right? So like when you're pandering to that audience, there's not really like there's not a repercussion for the laziness is what I'm getting at, right? The audience doesn't know better. The larger point that I would make is if forget about the tweets, these tweets about sharp action. Like you have to understand. Dave Mason does this at Bet Online too. I like it. It's not anything against him, but this is a very prevalent type of tweet in this day and age, right? It's like, here are the sharp bets at this book, right? If the book was scared that someone was going to use this information to profit against them, they wouldn't give the information out. Like it's so. My like larger goal in the space is to try to help educate. It has no value because there's two things. Dr. Bob, I don't know whether I've heard he's winning a lot this year. Dr. Bob, I cannot confirm or deny. I think you could check Fezzik's probably like his record as well, and if he's up, probably means Dr. Bob is up a lot more. That would just be my my gut inclination, but. There's a few things that happen here. When someone like Dr. Bob puts out a play to his base, which he's had for a long time, the numbers move. So in most instances, these numbers will have moved to the point where like nobody's playing them anymore. They're stuck there. The ones that are still available are in all likelihood not good. The market has resisted them. The numbers moved in one direction, and somebody else that has more market influence has bounced it back in the other direction. So, and then there's the ones that the game had already started, and it's like, why is that even there? Like, are people going to chase this live in game? Are you just going and clicking a random number? So I just don't understand the point of these tweets. But the consumer seems to eat them up.
I don't think it's fair, although you're maybe just making an example, to put Kelly and Dave Mason in the same breath, even if the tweets are somewhat similar. Dave works for the sportsbook, represents the sportsbook. He is just like sort of sharing information.
Sure.
Well, Kelly is like sharing it as advice. So when Dave tweets it, I see it as like information from the book.
I see.
Her sending that tweet is like this is advice to go play.
I completely agree. And this is vague enough that it's like it could be advice, it could not be advice. Dave will post like took an 100K click on this team and we moved it from -1 to -2. It's like that. Oh, okay. Like that's not actionable, but it's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's something I'm like, oh, that's interesting to read versus this is just vague nonsense.
Yeah. I think like what's kind of sad is the amount of the sports betting population that just wants to be force-fed plays. And it doesn't matter. Like that, nobody's price sensitive. Not nobody, but the majority of people aren't. Yeah, I don't know. I could never write a post like. I get really upset when like I just couldn't write a post like this. I don't like to give out my plays after they barely move because I don't want somebody taking like a worse price than I got, and then I don't even want to give out my plays when they didn't move because then I'm telling somebody else that like, hey, I got some market resistance here, so I don't know, it's tough. I don't like the sharing of sharp action.
I just think if you're building a brand around like, sports betting and educating and you want to give like actionable advice to people, like there should be a bigger onus on yourself to provide things of substance, not stale lines, stuff that's moved. Sometimes games have already started there. I understand like it's just what you're being fed, but like you can do a little bit more with that content than
she wants to have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah, the incentives are not
like, oh, I wasn't giving this as advice.
Yeah, and then there's times where like she'll portray herself as like very. She gets to play both sides, and don't get me wrong, she's not the only one where she gets to be like very sharp when she wants, but also like, oh, I'm like just doing this like very casually and I'm not that. But then like when it's time to like be like, no, I'm like the fucking serious breaker down capper here. I know this thing. That's all.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well said there. Now we're going to get into comments from the previous week's episodes. Reminder, if you want to get in on the conversation, you can comment something down below. It could be a reaction to something we said. It could be a take that you have or a question that isn't related to the episode. Send your comments in. We're doing a much better job of replying to a lot of those comments. We always check all of the comments every week. Would love to hear what you have to say. Here's 3 that we're going to feature, starting off with this one from Levi Keller, 7916. Said Kirk's no-hitter market take is a whiff. That's not what I'm interested in with this comment. What I'm interested in says, Geoff, no way am I going to be rooting for a perfect game against my team. Your rebuttal to that.
2 things. And this, I swear to God, if they're like on the road, if my favorite team is on the road, or even if I'm at home watching it, break that shit up. If I'm fucking there, and it's like game 87, and we got like a 4.5 game lead on like losing the playoff spot, I want to see the perfect game. But if they're on the road, or even if I'm just on my couch, I might agree with that. But if I'm in the building and it's like just a fart in the wind of 162, give me the perfect game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And to me, if you're in the building, it's like, unless it's a high leverage game, without a doubt. And then if I'm on my couch, like if we're down 7-0 and we're gonna lose, I'll probably start cheering for it. If it's 1-0 and we can actually win, then it's more.
I agree. I don't like the highlight of like my favorite team being.
You don't want your favorite team in someone's
in this,
highlight.
Like forever clip. I get like that part of it, but a regular season MLB game that's like inconsequential to the standing, I think I could swallow it.
September 1st, 2019, Justin Verlander pitched a no-hitter against the Blue Jays in Toronto. It was a 2-0 win. I will admit, I was rooting for him to get the no-hitter in the 9th inning. I don't know. There's something, especially baseball's 162 games.
Yeah.
Like it's not the NFL where it's 17 game season. Like I'm a fan of seeing history in sports. I know like a no-hitter is not history, but it's such a rare achievement. I will root for that stuff.
Another factor, if it is a Hall of Fame pitcher, I 100% want it to happen. If it is like this like middle of the road journeyman or like a bomb, maybe be like, no, but like if it's like a guy who's like we all see like this guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer and I have a chance to like see him actually throw the perfect game, yeah, as long as it's no leverage to the season,
yes,
100%.
Yeah, I also think that like everyone, again, he's Levi, by the way, thank you for the comments every week. I do see your comments every single week, but he capitalizes like no way, right? And to me, there's so many different, you could flip the scenario just slightly and immediately I would be like, fuck that. Like instead of Justin Verlander, it was a Yankees pitcher, and like we're in a. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to see that. But like, so it changes to me. Like it's the same in hockey, right? I don't know if someone fucking pops 6 goals against the Leafs this year in like a meaningless season, and it was like somebody 12 points in a. I'm getting like absurd now, right? But like an NHL record for points in a game, and it happened against the Leafs in a year where they're not going to make the playoffs. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck, great accomplishment. If it was a Montreal Canadiens player that did it, I'd be like, fuck that, not happening. Like so much of that matters, I think.
What did he not like about my take? What was it? Like the price at the book?
I did a full video on how I would price it. I don't think you were off at all.
I don't think I ever whiffed. So
well, it was a perfect game. It was a take on perfect game, not no hitters. I wasn't quite sure what he meant there, but
there is a market at Kalshi right now on will there be a perfect game this year, but the rules state that it has to be a starting pitcher, and it's at 19%, very low volume, less than $100,000 in volume. But I don't know.
So that means that this was not a bad price at all.
Yeah, listen. The DraftKings price was a bad price.
But
it's not
yes, not out of the realm of bad prices.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll back you up on that one.
Second comment comes from Chum43. Says no one's forcing anyone to make a certain bet. This is in reference to that DraftKings perfect game bet we referenced. Offer whatever odds you want. If they are bad, no one will bet it. I have no issue with the quote unquote predatory practices that are 100% voluntary. What do you guys think?
So they obviously have analytics on everything. Like when they put all those stupid parlays up by all the show hosts.
Yeah.
Like they know, like there's a number that like shows like how many people actually click through this freaking thing.
Yes. By the way, I don't know, Chum43, all I could think about was Sum41 when I saw that handle. No one's forcing anyone to make a certain bet. True. Absolutely. But the
You
only...
shouldn't price gouge in the same way if there was like a store that was selling paper towels for like 14x or something. You'd be like, okay, I get I could buy it elsewhere, but like you're still a jerk off.
Total. And
Sorry to interrupt you.
You go.
I think that's a great example, right? If any North American human being goes to a store and paper towels being sold for $50, everyone can look at that and being like, this is fucking outrageous. There's no chance. Sports betting is not like that, right? The average person doesn't know how to... some of the stuff my friends send me on a daily basis, like the system is already built for them to fail, right? And you don't need to rinse them on top of it, is kind of what I'm getting at with some of those, right? I love the Adam Levitan gimmick of quote tweeting the
great.
Barstool parlays, Portnoy's parlays, and saying what his fair price is on it. I love that. I don't know what it is, but it just like we don't need to gouge people like that. You don't need to.
obviously everyone has like maybe a bit of a different line of what it is, but I think like it's actually the exact opposite of what he's saying. The issue is when it becomes predatory, where, you know, they have a specific rule in their rule book that they know people will bet it and not have an understanding. Or, you know, you're the only legal book in the state, so we know we can completely gouge.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're going to price SGP so poorly that it's like, actually, to me, it's like when the line gets to predatory, that's when there's a problem. But yes, like we talked about with the last one, the perfect hitter, to me, that wasn't predatory at all. That was a totally within the realm in my standards of a bet that can be offered.
Would you consider predatory just being like in your face at the top of the page?
I would be,
No, but if they intentionally made the Dave Portnoy SGP worse than if you went into the game and clicked it, to me that would be predatory.
Yeah,
But having a Dave Portnoy SGP, I don't view that as beyond the pale.
well, no, because I don't think they're taking his SGP and crunching it. He's just making his own presumably shitty SGP, and that's the price.
Agreed.
yeah. The predatory practice there would be that Dave Portnoy can tweet a 50K slip of his SGP, and then even if I want to bet, even if Geoff wants to bet it, and it's a terrible price, he can still only bet $1 on it. Like that to me is the more predatory. I'm not simping for the sports books here. I think that it's the industry in and of itself.
Did Jason just
Jason
rip
left
the
one in
biggest
the hallway?
No, it's the reclining chair.
The chairs are rubbing together.
That happened to me during a watch along once.
I wonder if that got caught. I wonder if that came through. I don't know if the mics are good enough to pick it up, but that sounded like
I kind of heard
like
it
a good
might have had it.
6-second ripper right there.
Jeez,
Wow.
Jason.
That is predatory.
Cut down on the
what
beans,
happened out there is
brother.
predatory. Yeah. By the way, now that you said that, sorry, I'm derailing everything. Sorry, Jacob. This guy opens up Hammer Daily today, and he rips the picture that I posted of eggs with hot sauce yesterday.
That's his opener, like out of a big sports weekend.
He literally comes out and is like, what are we? Stock down. He does stock up, stock down. He's like, stock down, Rob Pizzola, these eggs. It looks like he boiled them. I'm like, who boils? Like, this.
Those are
I'm
just
going to
like sunny side up
Those are-
eggs.
That's
a
what I
little
have
bit
for
of
breakfast
pepper.
every single
Tell me
morning.
those eggs don't look
Those
super
look
appetizing.
those look
good.
perfect.
They look big, nice.
He's like, where's
fresh.
the bread? I'm
Is
like, I'm
that,
sorry, I didn't take a picture of the bread alongside it.
Is that sriracha with it
yeah,
as well?
sriracha. I like to mix up the hot sauces.
This is a great, very well cooked sunny side up egg. I'll give you credit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Whites are set.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Nice
for the
runny
audience
yolk.
here.
Yeah, I thought.
I maybe would go a little longer on the yolk, but you know that's just.
Yeah, I prefer to cover and steam it a bit so
How
that
does he-
the yolk
how
gets
does
a
he
little
get-
cooked.
But
Look,
Where does he get boiled from that?
Yeah,
I don't
if-
know what the fuck he's talking
Oh
about.
yeah,
man.
boiled eggs, a poached egg was also a very standard way to consume eggs.
Looks good.
Those like I think that's a
the
great
sriracha,
drizzle.
it's nice.
Give me
Great
some
drizzle
nice
of hot
toast with that.
I had
set.
four slices of sourdough with
got
that.
a little chili oil.
4 slices?
Yeah, I mean, for 3 yolks that size, you need some serious bread.
What's the seasoning?
That's just ground black pepper, a little tiny bit of sea salt and some ground black pepper.
Yeah, it's a perfect breakfast.
I just wanted to get that in there because I didn't know, man. I came in the office today. These guys are laughing at me. I'm like, wow, I didn't.
Ew, he just sent me his breakfast. It looks repulsive.
Anyway, sorry to derail, but you mentioned beans. I thought of breakfast beans, and then I thought of the eggs, and it all came together.
Anyways, back on the rails. The third comment comes from Calvin and Hobo, who, if this is his real account on YouTube, he's been interviewed on this channel. A very good interview. I recommend you go check out. He says, debate series would unironically be fantastic. Some serious ones where 2 respected bettors disagree on X about something and then bring it to the show and talk about it for 20 minutes politely. Then other funny debates where one of the debaters may not be very well respected. We did do, my recollection, we've had one debate on the channel. It was between
Benson
and
JJ Gruden.
JJ Gruden, right. And somebody mentioned that in the comments as well, where like, I didn't say this, but somebody in the comments said like it would have been really good if you gave Benson like someone actually serious to debate with. So you said it last week as a joke, but I told you people will take it seriously. What do you think on the reaction we're getting?
We might actually have to do the Hammered debate series. You guys opened last Friday's show with a tweet from Jared Smith as well, and I've been DMing with him back and forth. And he also mentioned that he would like to do a debate, I think with Kanish. He'd like to debate Kanish. Obviously, Playmaker Dave wants to debate Kirk Evans over here on whether or not it's okay to bet on wars, to predict wars. We have obviously Brett challenging me to a debate. But you know what? I went back and I watched that. It was one of our earlier episodes on YouTube, Jeff Benson and JJ Gruden. It's actually tough for me to watch that because like, one guy is so clearly out of his element and doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't want to do stuff like that. But to this suggestion, where you have respected bettors who disagree on a topic, I think it might be worth it.
I think it's got to happen at this point. Like we've talked about it enough. It's hilarious. It's got to happen.
What would be an example of a well-respected debate?
Sure.
Like, what would be an example? Where is there a disagreement, you think?
So somebody might say, I know people who think closing line value doesn't matter in sports anymore.
I think all the ones we're talking about right now, you and Brett maybe would be like a bit on too far on the spectrum, but like I think like the Playmaker Dave betting on war, I actually think that's a pretty good debate topic. I think Jared Smith and Kanish would be totally fine. I think those are that would be like, it's not like
I almost feel like rather than it just being debate topics, it could almost be like
Would you do this as like their one-offs per episode, or it would be like a card of debates?
I wouldn't want to do a card. I would like to do it as, I mean, especially for YouTube. This is very long. Circle Back is very long-form YouTube content. Luckily, I still do it this way because our average watch time is super high. But if I saw that dropping off, we would shorten. And I think generally, 15.
that's Jason's.
Yeah.
15 to 20
Those
minutes.
are quite literally boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Those are actually boiled.
I would eat
terrible.
I would eat Rob's.
Well, I mean, that looks good to me. I mean,
What-
No, they
I love
look
it.
fine, but
Green.
I'd prefer to eat Rob's.
What is the seasoning?
And he
on
doesn't
Jason?
even
Is that
toast
a
his bread.
chimichurri?
Might
Does
be
he
like a
even
chutney?
toast his bread?
There's no butter on that or nothing. It's just I don't know, man. I got to tell you,
And did
That-
he
that looks
make
pretty good.
Did
I
he
mean-
make that, or is that at a restaurant? And he's just showing it to me.
The table, it doesn't look like a restaurant
there's a
table.
placemat. There's a placemat.
Oh, it's placemat. Sorry, that's
So-
definitely his own.
Yeah,
place.
he made that. I think Jason can cook.
Yeah, he garnished it. He
I'm not
seasoned
saying
it
he's a
well.
bad cook. I would preferably crush yours.
I'll crush both in the same.
I would eat
sitting.
either one of these. I'll be honest. I was
I
expecting.
didn't know
worse.
what the stuff is.
I usually do scrambled eggs.
I think it's a chutney, but I could be wrong.
chutney. Yeah, possibly.
Looks like he's maybe doing a bit too much.
It looks like he's trying to do a caprese salad there with like a little basil leaf on top or something. You know,
Can't
don't
tell
need-
what the white sauce is underneath.
Every now and then, though, like I'll do scrambled eggs and I'll put like some spinach in there. Turns the eggs a little bit green, but it gives it a little bit of flavor. I like to make my scrambled eggs with a titch of milk. like something to make it a little bit. And I didn't have any milk, which is why I normally don't eat my eggs sunny side up. But anyways, we've talked a lot about eggs and debates, and I'll try to bring a debate series to the Hammer at some point. But maybe where it's not just like, I think one topic could also get stale. I don't want to say stale,
Like
but
just do short, 15, 20 minutes.
I like the squashing of beefs.
Sure.
Where you're just like, two people don't like each other. And it's like, you guys got half an hour to sort it out. We're going to have a moderator. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. And
It's a good one too.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of the same thing.
like I would interact with Fezzik again if it was like, I'd like to hear his point. I'd like to hear what really bothers him. And then I can respond to it. And then he can hear what really bothers me, and he can respond to me.
Like a lot of disagreements in the world, you probably agree about so much more than you disagree on.
Maybe.
And it's those few things, and you know.
Maybe, I don't know. I think we'll get something brewing. We'll get it brewing for sure.
So the red
So
sauce.
Jacob and Zilbert, then, if we're resolving
100%.
beefs.
100%.
Can you imagine, like, what benefit would that bring to do a debate like that? You could just basically set me up with a brick wall, and it would be the equivalent of that debate.
I don't know,
Like,
man.
what would happen?
Zilbert is the cat.
You literally...
He is agile like a
You literally
cat.
edited a play in one of your articles so you didn't get a loss. You could provide the proof, and you
but I would
didn't.
like
Then
to
he would
hear him,
deflect.
Like, talk on on more of a real interaction and see what that looks like.
You took an entire season of MLB tracking
Save it
out
for
of
the debate.
out
Save
of
it
your
for the debate.
tracking.
Yeah, you're giving
and
away
then
all
he
your
would say,
materials.
"Why would it count? I already know where the fucking debate's gonna
Well,
go."
now
which is
he's
why
going
it'd
to
be
prepare
completely
for your
useless.
material, man.
Giving it away.
You're giving out too much information.
It's just completely useless.
Zilbert has now
conversation
moved
to
to
have.
favorite after that.
Zilbert gets to like plan his response to COVID baseball now.
Yeah.
No, he'll never have a response. It's the same response.
What's the response to the email not being provided of the article being edited? There is no response because it didn't happen because he fucking faked it and he edited the article.
Allegedly.
Yeah, whatever. We have the disclaimer at the start. Anyways, to continue the conversation beyond just the show in the comment section, make sure you join the Discord we have at the Hammer Betting Network. The link is in the description below. It's absolutely cooking over there. We're on the march to 2,000 members. We have our Hammer creators giving out some banger bets. Our Hammer audience also giving out banger bets, and a great way to chat during games. Discord.gg/Hammer, or again, just go to the link in the description. Join our Discord today. Two more topics up on the show. First of those two comes from KK12 at Khalil508. Said, had an interesting discussion with a betting friend and wanted to pose this question. How many individual people in the USA make over $500,000 pre-tax betting yearly? Not income from giving picks, just purely from betting. My vote was 200 to 500, which I've disclosed here on the screenshot. But I didn't really know how to answer this. I really didn't have any idea. Maybe we'll ask Rob. Where would you place this?
I'm also interested in the roundtable thoughts on this. I think people overestimate generally how many people can make $500K pre-tax betting, right? Not content, not like affiliate,
Not Dub Club.
Not selling, pure betting. You know, it takes a lot to get to that level and to scale, right? You're especially if you think about in the US, if you're in a regulated market, you have access to what? I don't know. Some states, handful of books, most of them going to limit you very quickly. You constantly have to churn accounts, get accounts from other people. On top of that, you have to win. I personally think it is less than 200.
Oh.
I could justify 200 to 500. I think greater than 1,000 is, I would bet a lot on no there.
Yeah, I debated this with some people. I think I also voted 200 to 500, but I was actually probably closer to my second pick being 500 to 1,000 than under 200. I think also a lot of it kind of depends. Like, let's say a poker player, a pro poker player, or a very good poker player finds a private game that, he ends up taking home $500K that year, and it wasn't beyond expectation. He was supposed to take home $500K, but like so much of it was just due to this one private gamer. Sports bettor, finds a unique edge that ends up getting patched. So like, is it $500K expectation over 3 years? Is it $500K for 1 year? But like, because obviously we're not talking about someone who, luck boxed into a $5 million bet. We're saying, the EV at least had to be in the range of $500K. So those questions I think are interesting. I think the best place to probably start is like Kalshi leaderboards.
Yes.
And that's like a good way to gauge it.
I wonder if, I know the CEO at Juice Reel. I know that like they're a newer app, but like all these books that are now syncing to books, they would have a decent gauge of it as well. You interpreted it differently than I did. I don't know why I saw sports betting when I read it.
Oh yeah, no, this is
just pre-tax betting, but yearly. So that to me kind of indicates that, I don't know, what would be a good definition, like 3 years or more of doing this. It's tough to do that for sports for a lot of people. Like I think more people have overcome the barrier to winning now because of like all the top-down tools that are available and stuff like that. But I mean, I know groups that win a lot more than that, but when you split it out amongst like the employees and all that stuff, like the bottom line would be less than $500K for them. I don't know. I'm firmly in the belief that it's overestimated.
Yeah, I was thinking like, 100 to 150 poker players, probably 100 sports bettors, 50 advantage game players, and then, 50 to 100 prediction market people who are on the outside of sport.
I would have just assumed the numbers would be bigger for like the advantage game players, that they're just like in the shadows and have a clue.
That's true. Not everyone's
it's
public.
So hard to know.
They're so hard. You guys might have convinced me. Definitely on the poker front, I think that I miscalculated that completely. Although poker's not as big as it once was, it's players that I didn't account for. Advantage casino, I don't even know how much you can make. I don't know. I just don't have a good concept for that. But even a lot of full-time pros that I know that like they do well for themselves are probably in like the $250,000 range, and they grind pretty hard. They're not like world-class originators like you are, Kirk. It's a little bit different when you're originating your own numbers.
Yeah, originating your own numbers, obviously you can get to the upside, but then there's obviously the downside. But yeah, it's like so hard to know, because even people I'm extremely close with, like maybe there's a few guys who I know what they take home, but like it's not really even something people talk about. So it's really hard to know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd love to know in the comments for this one what you think, and particularly why. Because I definitely was in the less than 200 range, and now I think I'm wrong.
Okay. So in the comments, would you be 200, 200 to 500, 500 to 1,000, or 1,000 plus bettors who make over 500K pre-tax, just purely from betting, again, not from selling anything on top of that? That brings us to the final topic on the show today, which is originally from Boomer's Bets. Now, it may not be a completely serious tweet, but I think it opens up a pretty interesting discussion nonetheless. So at Boomer's Bets said, hot take, gambling with a low salary is better than gambling with a high salary. Discuss.
This sort of just reminds me of that like viral Bruno Mars tweet that went out last week, where it's like he's lost so much money, but he's so talented, he knows he can just win it back.
Yeah, that's what Floyd
That
Mayweather
allows-
was
betting on himself.
Sure, but he's also a
matches.
boxer.
Yeah.
Where like the shelf life, right? He's just can just sing his heart away forever. That like, yes, he can make these crazy bets that he can't technically afford. He has a talent where he can always make money to pay it back.
Always make
No.
money. They named a friggin' street after him in Vegas.
Yes. Where like if your bet might be exponentially to so many degrees smaller as a low salary bettor, but it is actually maybe like that much more of a sweat because it's that much more of like dinner or not.
Yeah, I would hope not dinner or not.
No, but
But I'm glad you brought. So
where you go for dinner or not.
No, I get what you.
this depends on how you would define better, okay? Because when you are gambling with a lower salary, from my experience, at least when I was making peanuts at the Score back in the day or whatever, Sport Check, fucking retail, I will say you feel more alive. you have but the lows are so low because when you lose, you literally don't have the money. That's the issue. I am much more comfortable gambling with a higher salary. Yes, I'm betting more as well, but like I don't have fear of, hey, if I have a couple bad losing weeks that I'm like my life is in shambles. And I think that's the difference. Like when you're gambling on a low salary, I think you get more of a rush because the games mean that much more to you.
Like the amount of people, like the studies say, in like North America or just Canada or the States specifically, that like don't have enough money to like overcome like an emergency today.
Yes.
Be it like dental or car or something. And then those are the people who are also like gambling. Yeah, I could see how I can see this tweet and it can make sense.
I agree. I when I first saw it, it made a lot of sense to me. And then I started thinking about it and I'm like, okay, yeah, nowadays the emotions are less. I get less emotional from watching sports. I'm not like on the knife's edge of every game. But when I think back to like my previous history in betting, like they're not good times to be remembered. Like there's like literally times where I'm scared to go. Like I owed $800 to like my agent, and I can't go play poker with my friends because he's gonna see my car parked on the road. Like this is the life I was living. That's exaggerated.
No, but I know. I mean, not the exact thing, but I've heard stories like that.
Yeah.
From a buddy's like wants to join us, but he knows the guy that he owes money to is going to be there, so he's just not coming.
Right? I'm like 18 years old, and I just want to play poker with my friends, but fuck, I can't park here. These guys are going to. So like, I don't know. I feel like it is a hot take from Boomer's Bets. I would disagree.
Yeah, I think I didn't really understand it. Now after hearing this conversation, I think my overall take is no. This is wrong.
Yeah.
It is not better.
Yeah. Gambling with a high it's all relative, right? I'm sure that if you look at what someone's unit size is with a low salary versus a high salary, the high salary is going to be relative to their unit size.
But they're also paranoid to lose because they prevents them, like their addiction.
Which side?
When you have like the low salary, it's like that. Let's say I have $300 left in my account. I'm betting this $300 on the game. I don't know how I'm going to like feed my addiction if this bet loses, as opposed to like the high salary. No, I agree. I'm just saying like it is. You don't want to be in the dark passenger.
Yeah, I feel like you're saying like if like the sweat is better. And like, yeah, the sweat is better because it means more.
Exactly.
So dark.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, that is not better. That is worse.
If you think about the average again, industry-wide studies, 98% of people lose. So yes, the sweats are a lot better on on a lower salary because I think each bet means more. But you're gonna probably lose. In which case, like you're gonna have some pretty low points. You know. If I would gladly sacrifice, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of a sweat for not having to worry about, am I going to be able to pay my rent this month? I think that's a lot of people would do that. Look at the image he chose.
Well, it was a gift, but yeah, it was.
Which is just like so funny, man.
All right. That's where we're going to end off the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. If you enjoyed, as a reminder, smash that like button, help drive us up in the YouTube algorithm, help us reach some more viewers for the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Help us get up to 22,000 subs. Remember, by subscribing, you're helping us create better content more often, more fun content coming at you on Wednesday. We hope to see you there. Thanks again, everyone.